during this extraterrestrial invasion, will there be other extraterrestrials that may look like us to help us through this?
That would basically be the plan, is to have an invader that is as much not like us as possible, so that we have a friend that is as much like us as possible, so that we basically, the starting point that we can get everybody onto is a binary starting point, which instead of the mono theory point that most people have, which is either all aliens are good or all aliens are bad. Both of those positions are 100% wrong. The truth is we need to start at a binary point of view, which is there's some bad aliens out there and there's some good ones. And we need to just start with that distinction.
Now, you're very adamant, Randy, about it being an insectoid invasion species. Is it because that is the species that is, invading us, or is it actually, are these hybrids or clones that were made by another race because of the whole, psychological effect?
Right. My understanding is that this particular species has been contracted to do this job. And
by who?
The Schwabenlanders, by the Nazis. Mm-hmm. They're contractors. And again, it's their job. And they were chosen for that job because they are not like us, terrifying, because, being giant bugs will hit people's amygdalas in a way in which their frontal lobe will not have time to sort it out. Your frontal lobe will go, that's interesting. That's a giant bug coming down the road at me. How should I feel about this? Should I want to be friends with this giant bug? Should I want to run away from this giant bug? And in the couple of seconds that your frontal lobe is taking to do that, way before that ever happens, at about a half a nanosecond, your amygdala is going to go, panic, run. And so before your brain even has a chance to go, how do I feel about this? And what do I think about this? Your amygdala is going to, like I said, it's going to panic, again, which is part of the point. We want that. We want it to get right past people's frontal lobes into the part of their brain that says, you have two choices. Make it now, and hopefully make it right, because those who choose to become pro-invader will probably not survive.
Well, Randy, when do you think this is going to happen? Is there a timeline you could share with us?
Sure. We've always said that this is an event-driven series of events, yes, not date-driven. So very early on, a few years ago, we said, December of 2019, said that we were entering into a pandemic phase, which was phase 1. And then there was going to be a civil disruption phase, phase 2. And then there would be a World War III phase, which we are in. We have seen all three of those happen. And then there would be an invasion phase. So let's talk about where we are right now, which is here, number 3, stage 3. So we fully expect that when the World War III phase is fully engaged is when that phase 4 is most likely to occur very soon after.
After it's completed or during that phase?
During this phase, during the World War III phase.
That would be the best time, right?
Right, it would be. So what we're waiting for in this, we've already seen what we know was part 1 of this, which is Russia invading Ukraine. We knew that the 3 other Axis powers that were going to have to get involved before this was fully going was going to be Iran, China, and North Korea. So Iran has been supplying drones to the Russians, so the Iranians and the Russians are fully in bed with that together. The Chinese have begun to fund and assist the Russians. The North Koreans have been sending the Russians uniforms and some other stuff. So Chinese were waiting for them to invade Taiwan. So there's continued escalation, continued saber rattling. We have a massive movement of ships and warplanes over the Strait of Taiwan, Chinese warships moving over the Strait of Taiwan. So they're even closer than they have ever been to that escalating point. North Korea has also just launched several ballistic missiles over Japan or into the Sea of Japan, provoking the Japanese. That's been closer and closer escalating. So what we're seeing, again, is all of these things escalating. It's like this, closer, closer, closer. We're more here than we ever have been.